morning, traders. I'm Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Thursday, February 22nd. We are coming off a mixed day for markets yesterday as caution from the Fed, but a boost from big tech kept stocks largely in check. The Dow and the S&P 500 turned green late in the session, but ended essentially flat. The Dow added 48 points or 0.13%, and the S&P 500 also added 0.13%. The Nasdaq attempted to turn, but closed in the red 0.32%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're up 1.28% this morning. Very positive. We're going to have a very strong opening. Really, the key for today is the positive sentiment around NVIDIA's earnings, which really is lifting, the tech sector and having beneficial effects on all sectors today. So, rising tide lifts all boats. That's what we're seeing. Those Fed meeting minutes, reinforce the current expectations of rates higher for longer. We're talking June, July for the first rate cut. Officials are worried about cutting too soon rather than keeping them too high for too long. You got some big, deal in the energy space, Cord Energy, ticker CHRD, and they're merging to create a $11 billion powerhouse energy firm. So that's positive. You're looking overseas. This morning, we're seeing the DAX is up 243 points or 1.42%. We're showing the FTSE. The FTSE's kind of flat. PMI data came out from, less than expected, but the FTSE's up, 2 points. And then you look at the CAC. The CAC is up 1.05% this morning. You're looking last night overseas, and overseas in Asia, we had all green. The Nikkei hit a record high. I mean, it surpassed that all-time high of 1989. It jumped 2.19% or 836 points. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng jumped 239 points or 1.45%. In China, the Shanghai jumped 37 points. That's 1.27%. Very positive. Then you're keeping an eye on oil. Oil was higher this morning, but has since turned lower. You're looking at WTI at $77.68 a barrel, whereas Brent's at $82.79 a barrel. Hey, those that API estimates, they did come in and show a build, which is not good for oil prices. Later today, we're going to get the official report from the EIA. And that's coming out at 11 a.m., which is, 1 day and 30 minutes later than normal. But oil is going to be, volatile today. It's something to keep an eye on, Emily.
And Bill, you did mention there at the top of your opening that, NVIDIA earnings really boosted sentiment in the whole market. So we're coming off of that this morning, along with some other earnings. So why don't you give us a rundown of what is going on in terms of earnings action?
Yeah, NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, that's really the stellar star. They beat by 56 cents on higher revenue. I was watching stock. After those announcements came down, it fell like 2%, and then it just started climbing and climbing and climbing. And you look at the stock now; it's up almost $90. Maybe too much, but wow, what a great beat for NVIDIA. Then we're talking Synopsys, ticker SNPS, Sam, Nancy, Paul, Sam. They beat by 38 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. You look at that stock this morning; it's up 4.86%. You're looking about Rivan Auto; they missed by 4 cents on higher revenue. That stock's down 17.74%. We also got to throw out there, Planet Fitness, ticker PLNT. They beat by 2 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. That stock's up 2.41% this morning, Emily. We're looking about what's coming up. Intuit, ticker INTU. Their EPS is $2.29. Expected move is 5.14% when they release this afternoon. Also releasing this afternoon is Copart, ticker CPRT, Charlie Paul, Richard Tom. Their EPS is 35 cents. Expected move is 6.18%. Squared, which is Block, ticker SQ, Sam Quinton. Their EPS is 60 cents, and the expected move here is 12.33%. Tomorrow morning, we got Blooming Brands, ticker BLMN, Boy Larry, Michael Nancy. Their EPS is 68 cents, and the expected move is 11.81% when they release tomorrow morning, Emily.
Bill, you did mention Planet Fitness there that beat by 2 cents on higher revenue. That was your pick of the day yesterday. And coming up, we're going to do a recap on that by the end of the show. So stick with us till the end. Now we're going to get to the day's economic events, a number of reports, and a host of Fed speak to be watching. And again, we're continuing to look for clues on the health of the economy first, which gives us indication on what is the Fed going to do next. That caution about when they're going to raise rates and not too quickly. We can try to stay ahead of that as investors by keeping track of all this information day in and day out, which is exactly what you do, Bill. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of economic events?
Yeah, well, this morning we got jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. At 9:45, we get the PMI composite flash. At 10 a.m., we get the existing home sales, and then at 11, you have the EIA oil stockpiles report. Big day for Fed speak. Vice Chair Philip Jefferson's going to be speaking at 10 a.m. At 3:15 p.m. We're going to be hearing from Philadelphia Fed Bank President Patrick Harker. Then, at 5, Minneapolis Fed Bank President Neil Kashkari. Also at 5, we're going to be hearing from Fed Governor Lisa Cook. Then at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time, Fed Governor Christopher Waller will be speaking. So yeah, big day of Fed speak today, Emily.
Keeping track of all of that, Bill, using your NewsWare. You've mentioned before that you have an alert set up for each of the Fed officials, also for those economic events. So you're keeping track of all of that information as it comes out. The other thing you're keeping track of are the data, information, news coming out of different sectors and segments, things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news. You look at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks, your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Looking at my data stocks this morning, looking at Dow, I'm showing 4 stocks lower, 2 unchanged, the rest are higher. FANG stocks all showing gains, except for, of more than 1%. Tesla's up 0.6%. Banks are higher, autos are higher, airlines are higher, and of course, semiconductors are just, blowing the roof off of it. They're all showing good gains this morning. We're talking about some of the news that's hitting the tape this morning. Amazon's paying a record 120 million to stream NFL playoff games after the 2024 season. FDA is, this is on Apple. FDA is warning against using smartphones to measure blood glucose levels. Google, I see Google's YouTube TV is in the U.S. is leading according to Nielsen. We're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. Walmart eases supply delivery demands as stocking pressures recede. This is on Intel. Microsoft CEO said that they're going to be using Intel to make homegrown chips. On Apple, Apple's proposal to satisfy EU regulators on app downloads and payments of apps is being criticized by Microsoft and Meta because they're still charging just a different way. Chord Energy, ticker CHRD, Charlie Henry, Richard David. They're merging with Enerplus, ticker ERF, to form an $11 billion, mega deal. Interesting. Talking guidance news, Nordstrom's, ticker NDSN, Nancy David, Sam Nancy. They see Q2 adjusted EPS 220 to 235. Street estimates $2.45. That's a downtick. 59 ticker FIVN, Q1 adjusted, they see Q1 adjusted EPS 37 to 39 cents. Street estimates 32 cents, big uptick. NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, they see Q1 revenue 24.0 billion plus or minus 2%. Street estimate is 21.9 billion. That's not bad. 24. Wow, they're on fire. Synopsys, ticker SNPS, Sam Nancy Paul Sam. They see Q2 adjusted EPS $3.09 to $3.14. Street estimate is 280. Wow, uptick. Talking shareholders in meetings, Raymond James, ticker RJF, they're having a shareholders meeting today at 4:30 p.m. Arrowroot, ticker ARRW, Apple, Richard, William. They're postponing their shareholders meeting to March 15th. It was supposed to happen today. Talking buyback news, I see Icon, ICON, India, Charlie, Oscar, Nancy. They announced a 500 billion share repurchasing program. Grab, ticker GRAB, Grace Richard, Appleboy, Grab's board authorized the share repurchasing program of up to 500 million. And BLDR, Boy, Larry, David, Richard, their board authorized a repurchasing of up to 1 billion in stock. Wow, that's a big one. That's what I'm seeing for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, It's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us today?
Going with squared or block ticker SQ San Quintin. Hey, the earnings are out after the bell. EPS is 60 cents. Expected move is 12.33%. Look at yesterday's call volume. 46,140 calls traded against 21,252 puts. That's 2-1. Open interest 279,618K versus 185,725. Again, that's very positive. It's like it's like 100,000 more on the call side. Major brokers are positive on the stock. They're raising price targets. In their last, one of the notes from the brokers was saying that cost and efficiencies have become the bigger priorities for the company. The key here really is the entry price. I'm looking at SQ, and I want to get in at the right price, and that's kind of it's always tough to call what the good price is. The stock's up $1.50 this morning. I want to get in under 65. Okay, it's 66 now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, if that's going to happen. So I'm going to say low 65s or under. Got to watch the stock to see how it opens. I'm going to be paying attention to the call put volume all day long today. But that's my pick of the day. Block ticker SQ Sam Quintin. 65 or under today. That's my pick of the day, Emily.
Bill, looking at those data points ahead of earnings and, looking at the right entry price, having an aim that's low, following that, a strategy that's worked, and we'll see coming up if that strategy worked yesterday with your pick of the day. So stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Hi, okay, let's see. ADI, Analog Devices, expands partnership with TSMC. Ticker D, Dominion, to sell 50% non-controlling interest in Virginia offshore wind project. Southwest Airlines, ticker LUV, reaches a tentative labor agreement with the union. Ticker GLSI, Grace Larry, Sam India, Greenwich Life Sciences Phase 3 trial protocol was accepted by EU regulators. Verizon, ticker VZ, builds customizable 5G environment for Audi automotive test track. Interesting. And that's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading today, let's take a look at that pick from yesterday, which was Planet Fitness, as we said during your earnings rundown. They did beat this morning. They reported a Q4 EPS of 60 cents. That was 2 cents better than the analyst estimate, 58 cents. Revenue for the quarter came in at $285.1 million versus the consensus of $282.87 million. They did announce the retirement of their CFO on their earnings call this morning. But looking back to yesterday, we did see a dip out of the gate, which is much as you expected. And then it climbed from there. It's been a little volatile since, but as you mentioned, is up again this morning. Bill, how did your call work out?
Listen, just look at the numbers. Stock opened up at 65.06 yesterday. $65.06. I was looking for an entry price around 64. It did fall down to 64.66, but that was in the first 30 minutes. And after that, it just ran. It ran all the way up to $66.39. That's like a 2% move from the opening price. And you look at the stock this morning, it's at $67.75, and that's on the bid. So you went from an opening price of $65.06 to where it's trading now, $67.75. What is it? That's like 4% move in a single day, in less than 24 hours. Yeah, Planet Fitness, PLNT, winner.
That's definitely a win there, using those data points to make that pick, which you did as well with today's pick. And we will check in with you tomorrow about your Block Inc. pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow to end your trading week at NewsWare's Trade Talk, when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.